front of me, I've got two tents, two different brands, but they are made almost identical, and they have the same interior specs, the same shape, but again, they're by two different brands. I was in the market for a new tent because I'd like to take my dog camping with me, and I really don't want her in my higher priced long distance backpacking tent, just because of her nails and just the extra wear and tear that it would cause having her in it, plus using it more on shorter trails. So I thought I'd just pick up a less expensive tent. That way, if anything did happen to it, something, if maybe she poked holes in the bottom or somehow got, you know, put runs in the screen, it wasn't as big a deal. So first I picked up this. This is made by Naturehike. It's called a Mongar 2-person tent. I've ended up finding an issue with this tent, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Instead of sending this one back and get the same tent to try to get around those issues, I found this one, and it had a couple of features that I like that this one doesn't have. For starters, they have the same shape. They use the same Y, double Y, I think is what they call it, poles. Each end has a Y shape on it with the part that comes across the top, and then it goes into another Y shape here, plus the spreader bar for the middle to hold out, to give more of a vertical wall on the sides and give you more headroom. Both of them do the same. Both have double doors, equal size vestibules. Both are symmetrical in their dimensions. My marmot that I use for my long distance hiking is actually wider on the head end than it is on the foot end, but this is symmetrical, so I don't have to worry about which end is the head end or the foot end, and it gives me just a little more room for my dog. I can put her bed in on the side next to me without being cramped. Well, let's get into the differences. I've already told you the similarities. Let me tell you about the differences. They both have these pockets on the end, one right here, a mesh pocket, and one down there. They're long, they lay on the floor, they don't stay up, they're pretty deep, which is not bad if you want to put a lot of stuff into it, but it lays into the floor. Both have a mesh loft to put more gear at the top. There you can see the pocket over there is shorter, and it stays up off the ground. I like that. It stays up off the floor of the tent. And one down here, just the same. This also has a mesh loft, but the top of this tent, they've got a solid nylon up here, which I actually like a lot. Last year when I went on the Foothills Trail, we got into a pretty good rainstorm overnight. It rained all night long, and I had some condensation on the inside of my rain fly. And every time it would start to rain, it would hit the rain, hitting the rain fly would cause the condensation on the inside and come down onto the mesh, and sometimes it would sprinkle me. It was never enough to just like wet out anything, but it was just a little bit annoying. I ended up taking my rain jacket and putting between my rain fly and the mesh just to keep some of that off of me, which worked okay, but it was a little bit of a pain. So I like that they have this full nylon just right here on the middle part. Now it's not on this, but I do like having that. I think they both have a hook in here to hang a lantern. Let's see. Yep, there's a hook right there. So they both have that hook. They both attach with plastic pieces here. Now the difference in them is this one you have to attach it, you put it on and then twist it. A little bit different. Not crazy about it. This one simply snaps on just like my marmot, and I'm more used to that, and I like this style better. Both of them on the rainfly have vents on each end here and on the other side. Both of them do that. The Mongar, the Naturehike Mongar, you have to be sure that you open your vents before you get inside your tent. Otherwise you have to get back out to open them up. On this tent, they've included a little zipper on each end where you can reach through and open that vent. And I'll show you that when I get the rainfly on. Both of them utilize the metal grommet to put your poles in. Just a little bit different styling, but they're, I mean, basically the same idea. This one, the Mongar uses a clip to attach the rainfly. The Luxe Tempo uses another one of these metal pieces with a grommet and that just hooks on the bottom. I'm not sure exactly which one I like better. I kind of think I like the second grommet because when your fingers are cold, it's kind of hard to squeeze any of these buckles like that and get them undone. That's minor. That's minor. Both have a good zippers on them. They both have double zippers. They both, of course, have door tiebacks here. The Naturehike comes with its own footprint. Now that is not it. That's a piece of Tyvek that I use with my marmot tent. But I was just putting that on that just keeps from getting dirty because I've got to send that tent back. They both have reinforced, nylon reinforced corners here where the pools are, just to protect that mesh to keep it from ripping. Alright, let me get the rain flies on and I'll show you a little bit more. Alright, I've got the rain flies on both of them. I've got them partially staked out. I'm only using the stakes from the Luxe Tempo since I'm keeping it. I didn't want to get the other ones dirty and have to clean them up. So this one is not pulled as tight as it should be. And I don't think I've even tightened it down here. You look at them again, you can tell they have the same shape, same size, everything. They both are seam sealed with seam tape. And let me show you the minor differences in the rain flies. They both have vents on each end. Both have guy out points, 4 guy out points. Done a little bit different fastening on each one. This has more of a wider piece of ribbon. The Naturehike has a piece of fabric with a small piece of ribbon. I think they both are sufficient. They both have ties for the doors to roll them back and out of the way. They both have the same size vestibule. Both have these pull-outs for the edge here to give a little more ventilation and to keep this from laying up against the mesh. That one as well. Now they both have just single zippers on the doors. They don't have a double zipper where you could open it. My marmot has double zippers on here, so I can open actually the top of it if I wanted to vent a little bit more. These only come with single zippers, which is fine. This is not a big deal tent for me. One other difference I did not point out a while ago. This has a bathtub floor, might be about 6 inches up, where they have the nylon material that comes up all the way around. The Luxe Tempo has a higher wall. They've still got the bathtub floor, but they've also got a piece of nylon that comes up part way up the wall, the door all the way around, and I like that a lot. This probably would make this more, it's not a 4-season tent, but I'm thinking it would make it closer. I could use it in a really cold, I think, camping trip, and this would actually offer a little more warmth. That would keep any of the wind, if it was getting blustery, it would keep, you know, some of the wind off of me. It wouldn't be a full-blown snow tent, but I think it would help. Or we'll go inside this one, just peek around. See how that pocket lays on the floor? That really bothers me because, I mean, the idea of putting stuff in a pocket is to kind of get it up out of the way. And it's just a big pocket for that side. And here's that loft I was showing you from the outside. Could put some stuff. each one of these tents has the some tie points, little tie strings you can tie there, and same thing on the other side, and also one right in the middle at the top. You can tie it to the poles. If you're in a pretty windy conditions, you'd want to do that just for stability, if you're going to use the guy lines for sure. That's the Mongar. And then here's the Luxe Tempo. See how high that comes up? That's just nice. And the end, it comes up even higher. I mean, almost up to that vent. I like that because on the other one, the way that the tent stakes out here, pulls the end out, it actually, I'm afraid that if there was a driving rain coming in, blowing sideways, I'm afraid it would splash under here and likely would splash some mud back up and onto the mesh and possibly onto your gear inside or your sleeping bag. I do like that it's staked out for the ventilation, but I do think rain might be an issue there. Hard rain anyway. I mean, honestly, when I take my dog with me and we go hiking and backpacking, I don't usually want to take her when I know it's going to rain. But if it were to rain, I would want that protection. See that right there? It's staked out. I think actually it's on this side. This right here, you can see it's staked out. There's the rain, even if it did blow and it splashed, it's going to hit this right here and it's not going to get on you. More importantly, it wouldn't get on your sleeping gear. I'm really impressed with this tent. And this one was actually cheaper than the Naturehike tent. Now, I like the Naturehike products. Don't get me wrong. And I would have kept the Naturehike Mongar had I not found a couple of issues with it. Let's see which side it is. It's not this side. There's some stitching that's coming loose, which is not a big deal. If I wanted to keep it, I would just sew it back myself. But this Velcro is not even attached very well. It's going to come off. But anyway, and then also on this, there was a spot where they did the seam seal, and they just got some of the fabric caught in it from the side, and that bothers me. I mean, I don't think it wouldn't make it non-usable, but that's just bothers me. And I think after a while, as I tighten up the fabric, it may try to pull loose, which will actually compromise the tape on there. So I was not overjoyed with that. There's another place on it, I don't know where now, but so for those two reasons, the poor stitching on the end and then this getting this puckered up and caught under there, I first decided I was just going to buy a second one, or get in touch with, I got it from Amazon. I was just going to get in touch with them and send this one back and get a new one. But I don't know, something told me to keep looking at the other tents that I knew were the same shape and size. And that's when I came across this one. I would not hesitate to have a Naturehike tent. I think they're good tents. It's just a shame that the quality control on this one was off. But probably if I ordered another one, it probably would be just fine. But now that I did order this one, and I like the extra nylon that comes up the wall, the zipper on the end so I can open the vents if I forgot to on the outside. And I do like this better, where the fly goes on with another metal piece. The footprint that comes with this Naturehike has buckles on it, so you could technically put this up with just the rain fly and the footprint, because it has the same buckle that matches up. This one you could still pitch with, well, you can pitch it with my Tyvek, because I have tabs on the end to hold, for that very reason, on my marmot, and I can use that. I could put up the rain fly with my Tyvek sheet. Now I just noticed that the stitching, the way it's put together, is just a little bit different This has a flat seam and it's seam sealed in here. This one has the seam, it's done like this, and it's not seam sealed. Oh yes it is. Yeah it is. Okay. It's just a different way that it's constructed. It seems like it might be a little bit stronger because the way that they've got it rolled and then rolled a couple of times and then stitched. And yeah, there is a seam sealer on that. Okay. That's just a little bit different. I think both of them have little reflective flakes in their line. They both come with 10 stakes, 4 guy lines. Technically, you have 12 stakes if you used all 4 guy lines. They only give you 10. But honestly, when I hike, I only carry 2 guy lines. I've never had to use them, even in some windy conditions. I've never had that happen, but I have them with me just in case, and I could always, you know, put them catty corner to each other. Or if all the wind is coming from one end and I feel like it needs extra on this, I could put 2 here. It's just, you know, cutting back on the weight. That's the whole point. But the stakes themselves, now like I said, I don't have the stakes out that go with this tent. I left them in the bag, keep them clean. They're basically the same. They're a little on the short side for my liking. I'm going to go ahead and try them. I may carry 2 longer stakes just in case there's an issue. The Naturehike guy lines are a pretty thick rope compared to what came with the Luxe Tempo. This is a thinner line. I like it better. This is that thicker line. It's kind of soft. I'm just not crazy about that. I love this kind of line though. It looks like they both have the little reflective spots in it, so at night your headlamp would illuminate it. Both of these tents, you can undo one end and fold it back if you wanted to stargaze, and then it's ready in case there was a rain. You could, you know, flip it back over and attach it pretty quickly. So that's kind of neat. I weighed each one of them. This one comes in without, now I weighed them both without the footprint because since that one didn't come with one, and I'm going to be using my Tyvek footprint anyway. This came in at 4.2 pounds. This one came in at either 3.8 or 3.9. There's not a whole lot of difference between the two. And then you add, I've got 6 ounces for that Tyvek footprint. So you would add that to it. Not too bad. This one was more expensive. I saved about $40 by going with this one and got some better features. So I'm very pleased with this. All right. If you have any questions about either one of these tents, drop me a comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. All right, y'all, take care. Happy trails.